Okay. So, Celia's coming. And then... So... Ah, Celia. Good to see you.
Hi. Good to see you too.
How are you doing? Take a seat.
Yes. This is gonna be interesting.
Well, yes, considering, I've known you for a little bit, and the fact that you don't seem to be exhibiting any actual deep-set mental health issues, maybe like a little bit of trauma and all that, it's understandable, but nothing that would normally classify someone into my exclusive care and field of expertise. But I'm seeing this more of a friend reaching out to a friend in this case as well. So. Half professionalism, I guess. So what's got you bothered?
Yeah. Think all that. I'll be honest, I have no idea how I'm gonna start off this entire conversation. A lot
no
has
way
been happening recently, and so I'm just...
You don't have to worry about how to start a conversation about this. The conversation's already on the table, as it were.
guess. Trying to just think on where to kind of start, and it's more so me just wanting to talk, make sure that I'm not going off the deep end like some people have been kind of worried about. With a lot
The
of the things
classic,
that have
I
been
need to
happening
make sure I'm
recently.
not crazy. Look,
Kind of.
I'll keep some notes in general, but seeing as it's you, Celia, I'm not putting too much stock into having to worry about doing an in-depth analysis of whether or not you're having an actual traumatic or full psychotic break.
I guess that's fair. But, I guess out of the most recent stuff to be kind of talking about that it's been not going well. Been losing people recently, and that's been kind of rough and straining thing recently.
Friends, family, close acquaintances.
A family member, and then someone that I had feelings for.
Ah. Well, that normally makes a fair bit of sense. Loss is never a fun topic to have to broach with oneself, let alone with other people. I understand why you might be a little perturbed about bringing it up. I mean, to me, of all people as well, though,
Yeah.
it kind of... You and I know how it is, right?
Yeah, very true. Yeah. Yeah, I kind of recently, not super recent, it was a little bit ago, but I only recently kind of thought maybe I should talk to you or someone that could just talk to about it, but, a little while ago, I lost my brother Vassal. Something happened at the city that we usually stay at, and
Familial
he,
loss. Seems to be
the best
coping
way I
well.
can explain it, died and got brought back as something that was turned against us. And I recently saw him again. However, he was trying to attack us, and it was kind of
Then it's not really them, is it?
rough, I'll say. He kind of attacked us, however, whenever my other brother showed up, he got calmed down, and he's been watching over him. I don't know the whole situation. I've not been updated on what's been happening, but they've been trying to figure out a way of getting him back to his old self. However, it's been kind of iffy. But losing him was rough with it. He worked very hard to be part of the family, and to see that happened, and then not long after, a couple days after, is when I lost the other person. Everyone's more been focused on them than my brother along, which I can understand. He'd been around for a while, but also it's the factor of a lot of people didn't seem like they cared a whole lot about my brother being gone. Probably because he's a bit prickly whenever you first meet him, but he was always a good person. So losing him and then not long afterwards losing another person very close to me was not very good.
Well, of course not. Losing anyone at all is never a good thing.
Yeah. The other person I lost was Galvin. He was known by a lot of people. You've seen him at the casino a couple times. Or at least I think you have.
You'd have to describe
Yeah.
him.
Either white hair with like a business suit usually hung around me, or he was in the big tall red armor with like the horns on his back. Played a couple games at some point at some of your tables or on Envy's tables. I don't remember which. At one point, I remember we were there later a little bit, and he went all in, and I was like, "Don't complain whenever you lose all your money," and he ended up losing. So I think it was against Link, if I remember correctly.
I
They went against. It
think
was
I
a little
remember
while
the
ago.
individual, yeah.
Yeah, he was just someone I deeply cared for and had feelings for, and I lost him about 2 days after I lost my brother. So I'm
Oh, that's
not been
unfortunate.
the best with it. Um, Besides that, I've been having times of someone who I was hoping wasn't going to be returning ended up coming back again, and he's been a pain to deal with. Very big pain. And someone who was under Galvin and his little tribe thing that they were part of, and he's been going on about how we haven't seen him change, even though he really hasn't changed much. It's just been a big pain to many people and threatened several people and everything like that before in the past, so I was hoping not to see him again. And then he showed up a while afterwards. From what I've heard, he's been causing some troubles. And I kind of can't do a whole lot about it, or at least I don't feel like I can.
I'm sure there's many things you can do. Well, it's going to be interesting to see whether or not she figures this out with me. Okay. I'm pretty sure that there's a lot of things you can do. But at this point in
I wouldn't
time,
be
we're
so
just...
sure on what.
Well, at this point, processing your emotions correctly is just the first step. The fact that you're currently getting it off of your chest and explaining things, showing your care for the individuals, and the fact that you are genuinely sorry at your loss means that at least it has not been a traumatic loss. Though, as long as you don't end up with PGD, it should be okay. Because, well, that's still treatable anyway. But
End up with what?
prolonged grief disorder.
We'll see. I think on what else to talk about. I've been very out of it recently with a lot of this stuff, so I've not been going out and about places very often.
I mean, it makes sense. A lot of people that experience loss and are greatly affected by it tend to withdraw, specifically because they don't like friends, family, or generally people that they don't know seeing that they are suffering in some way, shape, or form, and, well, especially in most cases, they think that it's an offer of empty help. That just because you are suffering and people notice that and actually want to help, suddenly people go, I'd rather you don't, and they push away from the help. So the fact you've come to me and are bringing this up and are trying to move through this is a very good thing. That and the fact that, well, you are a lot better off talking about the issues and coming to terms naturally than, well, the way I would normally deal with most of my clientele. I'm a psychiatrist.
I was like medications.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, again, you kind of already know I do have my own medications, but that's
Exactly.
kind of just in general something I need to take.
And in general, if I can avoid prescribing someone medication for something and feel that they can move past something without needing that, I will almost always try to aim to make sure that I don't prescribe something. If I think that the person is doing well enough on their own, that they understand the steps that they can take and move forward in a timely and healthy manner, I'm here to help with that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's that, I mean, yesterday was kind of weird as well. I wasn't even really doing anything. I kind of was just hanging out in my room in the mansion, and next thing I know, I felt a really big pain in my chest, and that was not very comfy.
What was
I
the
can
cause
only
of it
assume
by any
from
chance?
what I know of. From what I've kind of gathered with it kind of happening before in the past, which this was a different outcome. I have a weapon that's attached to my soul, and from what I'm understanding, I think someone pissed off my mom, and I think, from what I've seen, I kind of got cut up a little bit from it, as it was not going well. I don't know what exactly happened. I'm supposed to be talking to her later today, I believe. At least I'm hoping.
So something
hoping to go
pulled
talk
on your
to her.
connection to your soul.
Pretty much, and it irritated the
Like
sword that was attached to it and kind of made it go everywhere and
someone
hit me a couple times.
plucking a guitar string, I'm going to take a guess at.
Kind of. Mom is attached to a thing called the Red Sea. It's pretty much her thing, and I have a weapon that's from there that is attached to me. When she gets angry, that starts going very wild, and normally what happens, it normally goes to her and I kind of just knock out for a while. But yesterday, instead of that happening, it just kept going wild, and it hit me a couple times while
So
was
something
just
is
kinda
bound
sitting
to
there,
your
and it
soul,
was not
but
very
you don't
comfy.
actually have true ownership of it because it's still owned by your mother. Okay.
It's very not comfy.
Well,
It's one
fair
of the
enough.
few things that I can't really, get rid of when I'm going somewhere like the casino. I just can't have access to it.
Yeah, soul binding is an interesting concept. Unfortunately, in my case, well, not something I'm going to worry about. You know, don't have one.
I feel like you should be a bit happy about that.
I don't know. It's a complicated bevy of emotions when you talk to someone and they say, well, I don't know how you work because you don't have a soul, which is very strange.
You don't have one, and I feel like I have just an amalgamation of one. Actually, so earlier today, someone helped me patch it up a little bit, and they looked at me and they're like, "Are you okay? How many souls do you have? Like, are you
I
good?"
mean,
I'm like,
there
"That's
has
just
been
one.
research done
A lot
into
of
chimeric souls in general.
Frankensteining."
Yeah, the
Yeah,
technical
someone
term being a
called me
chimeric
that
soul.
before.
It's
Yeah.
not uncommon, but also, wow. It was a theoretical stipulation back in my young days of study. And even then, whilst it was achievable, it wasn't really seen as something that would be healthy for an individual to have. But I think that that is getting us sidetracked from the main issues.
Yeah.
So
It's
I
only
will
really been
assume that
some
it's more of a
recent things.
worry for your mother than anything else. You're
Yeah, I'm worried
understanding
about
that.
a lot of my family members with some of that stuff. And again, kind of circles around back to the whole don't feel like I can really do a whole lot with a lot of the situations that's been happening.
So
People
the
have been
feeling
talking
of
to me about things, and
hopelessness.
it's kind of.
I'll ask you this
'Cause I'm
then,
still kind
Celia.
of new.
When it comes to feeling hopeless, is it other people that are telling you that it is hopeless that makes you feel that way, or do you feel that way from looking at it yourself from a logical standpoint?
Not sure. I mean, I look at situations and, well, because I've not really, at least in my family's home and whatnot, I've not been around for long, compared to others. They always people either ask for, like, Damien, the eldest brother, or, like, Nikolai and that kind of stuff. Or if they do go to me, I don't know what I can do in the situation. So I feel like I can't do much whenever it comes down to a lot of things, whether it's decision making or even just doing stuff in general. I feel like I'll be kind of just tossed if I make a wrong decision. So
Choice
I usually just
paralysis.
don't.
Yeah. Choice paralysis. It's a learned trait. No need to really worry too much about that. You can indeed learn to not feel that way, because you've currently learned that feeling that way is natural for you. So, putting it in perspective, a choice is presented to you, and you do not know which choice to make. You take the third option, which is to not take either choice, because taking either choice will change the status quo, and if you take the third choice of not making a choice, nothing actually changes, so you are comfortable in making that third choice, because it's, well, taking a choice for not making a choice is still a choice in of itself. You get into the philosophy of things when it comes down to it. But why do you feel that when you are presented with choices that may or may not affect other people, not just yourself, that you are prone to taking a step back, that you would be remiss in actually pushing forward on something? Is it for the fear that you will be perceived differently by your family? Is it the fear that you will hate yourself if it doesn't turn out the way you thought it was supposed to? If you've looked at both outcomes and followed the logical lines through to their conclusions? That if something does go outside of your ideas or concepts of what will happen, that suddenly you're in unfamiliar waters, as it were, that you weren't able to make that choice correctly, or you should have made the other choice because it didn't turn out the exact way you envisioned it?
I'm about to say yes to all of those.
Okay, yeah, that's pretty standard mild paranoia. Also a little bit of what you could call imposter syndrome. The fact that you don't feel that people should be coming to you for decisions in the first place, instead of looking at the choice that people have come to you for that decision because they trust in your judgment in some way, shape, or form. You have earned something. And whilst you don't feel that you have earned it, the people around you or the people that are coming to you do feel that way. It's a conflict of perception.
And they also sometimes just go to me because I'm the only family member that has been consistently walking around. And they think that because I'm close to, some of the top people, considering I'm one of the ones that even before I was part of the family, I was still getting rather friends and I was allies with a lot of the family members to begin with. I get involved in a lot of things with them, so they probably think that, well, hey, you've been around them and helped them out a lot, even after becoming a family member, you've been doing a lot, so maybe you can get in contact with these people. I don't know.
You are the gopher, as it were.
It feels like it sometimes, yeah. 'Cause I know that at times I tell someone I don't know if I'd be able to make that decision, considering it's something that I know I would be unable to make the decision of, as it's things, whether it's something related to a big decision that would have to be
Okay.
either my dad or someone
So,
making it.
in
And
that case, then, let me change the perspective of you there. Just because you're making a decision that someone else is coming to you to make doesn't mean that they have to follow that decision. You could always see it as just advice. Sort of like what I'm doing right now.
I'm not sure. I know some of the people that have been talking to me recently on trying to make things like that have been ones that'll take whoever says it first and just go with it. But I just don't want to make, or at least say something and then it be the wrong thing, or someone tell me that I couldn't make that decision. It's hard to tell,
It's
especially
a
considering
self-confidence
one of the
issue.
things
Okay.
especially considering one of the things being just someone who had threatened me on something and I didn't feel like I would be able to take action because they didn't actually do anything. But then one of my family members, my sister Varune, told me that I should have done something, and I said that I didn't know what I could have done. They didn't do anything besides just words, and like doesn't doesn't
Well, words
exactly
are still a
call much
disciplinary
for me to
action.
do something.
Think about that. If you are seen as a person in a somewhat position of power within your family, that does put a onus on you. It means that people will perceive you that way. If you are perceived as that, then you have to live up to that expectation. When it comes to how best to phrase this for you? When it comes to helping other people, such as how I'm doing it with you right now, it's a back and forth. You try to find what the person wants. They try to tell you what they want. Because sometimes what they want and what they're perceiving as what they want is not actually what they're after. Right now, you see, you're coming to me because you want validation on certain points. You're looking to make sure that you are making the correct decisions. You want someone to be a lieutenant, let's put it that way. You want to be the captain, but you need someone as your second in command telling you, yes, sir, you've done well. This is exactly what you should have been doing. Very good, sir. Pat on the back, sir. But you don't have anyone giving you that positive reinforcement. Because you need to find someone that seems to be not a yes man. You need someone that will challenge you when they see something that you are doing as incorrect, but will also praise you when you are doing something that you feel needs to be done the way that you're saying it. It's taking on a leadership position, you see. Something you didn't think that you really had, but from the sounds of what you're describing to me, you do have.
Never really been a leader person. More like being the second in command. It's always what I've been whenever I've done things. Always been
The
the
second
person
in command
to
is
give
still a
the
leadership
initiative.
position, Celia. Don't delude yourself into
Well,
other
I've
things.
never.
Look, the fact that if you have been a second in command, you understand very well what is required of you to make sure that a person that is above you is getting the right advice, correct? Then the same thought pattern applies to you yourself as a person in that same position. If you're the right hand of someone in a leadership position, that means that technically you should have a right hand as well. Someone that you can go through to make sure that the logic is sound, that you're not overstepping any boundaries, that you're not pushing something onto people that are asking for your help without, taking into consideration all the angles. In some cases, yes, obviously people are coming to you because they want you to be that right hand of the person above you. They want to get your opinion first as to whether or not, if they bring it to the person above you, that you will back them up on that. You're the stopgap. You're that, well, most important piece in the chain. Because you're making sure the information is vetted. You're making sure that nothing stupid gets past you, right? You've just not seen it as... Okay. Right. You haven't seen it as you are the leadership position. You've always seen yourself as the second in command, I will say. Which means that now suddenly you've come to the realization that you are more than just the second in command of someone else. You are your own person. And because you are your own person and suddenly people are coming to you and you don't feel it is your place to just bring what other people are bringing to you, to the person above you, suddenly you have a choice paralysis because you are worried that, are you making the right choice? Because that is the pressure that is put upon you. You've become hyper aware of it, as opposed to before, it was probably natural. At this point in time, it's more than likely because the stresses of your daily life, the loss of friends, the loss of family, and of various other factors have compiled together. You're looking for validation, Celia. And as a mental health professional, I'm here to give that to you. The fact that you have taken the choice to come to me, present your issue, talk through the issue, present your worries, and voice anything you have in general, that's not something anyone can do. Most people that I tend to have put towards me, well, easier cases, because they understand that there is something wrong and they need help, such as you have done. I always prefer helping people that want to come forward and want help, because they understand that they need it. But the fact that you have understood that you need help in understanding something about yourself, and then have brought forward an issue, and then shrugged at yourself because you don't think it's a big issue, even though when you look at it from the perspective of the outside, it's a huge issue, because it's a core tenet of yourself. I wouldn't worry too much. A slight lack of confidence in yourself is perfectly natural, especially with what has obviously happened to you recently. That in and of itself is more than likely your trigger point. This has caused you to take that step back and look at your life and go, is this what I've been doing? Am I right in doing this? You're having an existential crisis. The crisis of the self. You don't understand where you are within your own dynamic anymore. And you don't want someone to tell you where you are, but you do want someone to help you find that. And that's what I'm here for. I could just tell you to have self-confidence, but that's not going to change anything, is it?
Guess I've just been so used to having other people above me of saying, oh, well, I don't know what to do in this situation, I can ask them. And since most of the people have been gone, I've been the primary person a lot of people have been going to. Damien's been gone, Nikolai's been gone, a lot of my other siblings that a lot of people we normally would go to have been busy with their own stuff. Guess I'm just not used to being the person that people go to, and the factor of if they go to me, I always knew I had others that I can ask, but recently I've felt like I haven't had people to go to, since they've all been having their own stuff.
The joke in general,
Guess that whole hyper
to try to help ease it out of you, is that you're asking for an adult whilst you still are an adult. I need an adult. Wait, I am an adult. Ah, shit.
I need an adult to your adult.
There you go. See? Now you understand, right? I'm lucky I understand your level of humor, Celia. Definitely helps you with comprehension.
My humor is fairly dry usually.
So, this is obviously an issue that you've got, but that is something that you can work on slowly for yourself. Because now you can take that step back and look at yourself and go, I have to make a choice. Other people are relying on me, but if they don't rely on you for it, what are they going to do? They're going to rush off and make that choice themselves either way. They would prefer an input of someone that they respect and understand has a good mind on their shoulders, that has the respect of those above, and will be listened to by those above. Sure, some might try to circumvent natural order. Some people might go, if I just talk to Celia, I can get a permission to do something and get around those that are above. As long as you pay attention for anyone that is trying to use you maliciously like that, any choice you make is correct. As long as you're using logic and looking at it objectively, nothing wrong. There's no wrong answers. Left or right, A or B, one or two. No one can truly know what outcome will ever occur from a choice. And that's normally what causes choice paralysis. You start thinking far too deeply down the rabbit hole. Oh, but if this one tiny particular thing occurs because of this one particular choice I've made, and then the subset of this choice suddenly does that, and suddenly llamas are walking upside down on their head somehow, like a snake. See? It's absurd, right?
Yes.
It's not something that you'll be able to get over instantaneously, but the fact that it needs to be pointed out to you, that's something that you can't learn easily. It's a journey of the self. You can obviously have people like me that can point it out for you, that you need to slowly but surely ease yourself into that position, because it's a position you have been put into, obviously. Taking responsibility, having that kind of power over the choices other people are making, it's daunting. But sometimes it's all you can do. After all, it's part of my job, right? I'm sitting here giving you advice on something that I know that if I make a mistake, could ruin your life for you. It doesn't have an effect on me in the direct negative, but in the long run, way down the line, it's nothing but bad. And I have to live with that every time I try to help a patient. That even if I'm giving the best advice that I can, it might not be enough. Or it might be misconstrued. I might misrepresent something to them. They might get an idea in their head, and I may never see that patient again. They might do something terrible. But that is their choice. I can only give them the advice that I feel is the most fitting for them, and try to help them be better about themselves for taking it. Again, me sitting here talking to you about this, you don't have to listen to a word I'm saying. You could ignore every bit of advice I'm giving you right now. But I know you're not the kind of person to disregard advice, especially because you are used to giving it, obviously.
I feel like sometimes too much, but yeah.
Exactly.
Sometimes even advice that I have no idea what I'm saying, and yet I somehow give advice and people just go with it and it works. I don't know how. But
Congratulations,
it's happened
Celia.
before.
I bestow upon you the title of Moth Mom.
That's not the first time I've been called that, so fair enough.
Exactly. Well, now it's official. And you know what? Wait.
I don't know. Am I about to get like a name tag or something?
One certificate for moth mommery. There you go.
Well, hell, I mean, this works.
I'm breaking the tension a little for you. You were getting a little deep into thought and worrying whether or not any of this advice actually is pertinent to you, because you're sitting there going, if I do make these choices and it goes bad, then what? The world's always going to be full of what ifs. And then what's? There's nothing we can do about that. All we can do is our best. Don't get me wrong. Some people will get hurt from the advice you give. It's bound to happen. There's never a 0% chance. But steeling yourself for those times and understanding where you made the mistake, how you could have been better, the introspection and self-reflection on things like that, that is what truly matters. And that shows that you care. The fact that you hurt so deeply right now because you have all these choices being thrown at you that you cannot make a choice about, because you're worried about every part of the feeling of the people that are bringing it to you. The level of care and empathy that is shown by that alone is Brobdingnagian. It's not something just anyone can do, Celia. But take your time. I mean, I could tell you to do the thing that I always tell a lot of my patients to do, which is write a journal. Keep track of your day-to-day thoughts on it. Someone comes to you for a choice or a decision or some advice, give that to them. And then after they're gone, after the day is done, write down why you made that choice. Look back at it. Seeing it in paper in front of you solidifies that you made that choice. It is concrete. It's no longer that you can wave away that it was made. You now have the consequences to deal with, whether they be good or bad. But knowing why you made that choice, because you will write that down. Today I told X to do this, because I feel that this is the best course of action for X's well-being and what they were trying to do. It's not patting yourself on the back. It's keeping it a little analytical. But that's the thing. You're an empathetic person. You feel far too deeply. Taking that step back a little bit and cutting emotion out of it a tiny bit, seeing it on the page written down in a more logical manner, lets you realize that you followed your feelings and logic, striking the balance between them both.
I guess in a way, good example, at least for my own self, is time where I was second on a mission and I acted like I was first. I was able to make sure that everyone got out safely and that decisions were made fine while
Exactly.
not having the title of it.
The job of a second is always to take care of the gaps left by the first. That's just not something that you can really do anything about.
I guess then a way I could probably think about it is I'm the second, but I can still make the decisions. And if I ever need to, I can always still ask, even if it's not in person on me asking about it.
Yeah.
I can still make the decisions, know that I made them. However, I can still not stress too much about it. Having a bit of problems there.
Yeah, a little bit. It happens. Look, when you have to manually do everything that I do to work,
Yeah,
it's not easy
I know,
sometimes.
I've heard.
Yeah. Look, you understand where your priorities are. Okay? Like that example right there. You acted like a first because you needed to act like a first, because you picked up the slack. You didn't have to, but you saw what you were required to do, and you did it because you knew it had to be done. You made the conscious choice. If the person that was first would have been a danger to the others by their inaction or by not having someone like yourself pick up that slack, what would have happened? Exactly. It's a complicated process. Something you'll have to slowly get used to. But you're a good person, Celia. From what I've seen of you, you care enough to make sure that you really want the best for those people coming to you.
That's usually what I want. I want people to make sure that they are safe and that they're alright. Though sometimes that comes and bites me in the ass, honestly. People have
Fit,
called me
happy,
too
and
caring
healthy.
before, so.
Yeah.
I mean, not my fault. I want to make sure that people don't end up in situations I've been in before. That I've seen others end up in. I want to make sure that people don't get themselves killed. I've
You have a
seen
frame
that
of
happen too
reference,
many
you see.
times.
It's understandable. You've seen things occur. You don't want them to occur again because those things occurring was bad. You've seen the outcome. And thus you go, we don't want that outcome, obviously. Prefer an outcome, even if it's an unknown, better than that one, because that's a known outcome. You just need someone to tell you that it's all right to make choices, Celia. It's going to be slow for you, but there's nothing wrong with taking that time to make the decisions slower. Just because people are coming to you doesn't mean that you have to rush a choice. Not unless it is a life or death, spur of the moment, suddenly this has occurred right now and has to be dealt with, which doesn't happen as much as you'd think. Most things can be taken a step back from, looked at, dissected, analyzed. Then you can bring it to other people. Find those around you that you understand can help you with those kind of decisions. Don't rely on them, but get their input. Become a leader yourself. You're no longer just a second in command. And I'm pretty sure all of this doubt stems back from those that you have lost recently, because you understand that those kind of decisions you make can lose people. It's your empathy biting you in the ass, because you do care enough to not want to lose those people.
Yeah. I guess it would be my empathy biting me in the ass with that.
Look, as much as I'm a nice guy, I will always tell it as it is, because lying to a patient is never going to help a patient. Telling you pretty fancy things you want to hear
Of course.
completely not in my ballpark. Trust me there.
Nah, I want people to be blunt as fuck to me if they see something
Yeah,
that I'm
be called
doing
out on it.
and
Exactly.
it's not good. I want them to be blunt.
And that's why you've been in...
If I'm being an asshole, tell me I'm an asshole.
Exactly. And that's why you've been
I'll
in those
figure
kind of
out.
positions before. Because the people above you understand that that's how you see things. You're going to call them out on anything. So all you've got to do is find people that will call you out on things. Just like I'm calling you out on this right now. It's not a hard thing to do, is it? You just got to find the people around you that understand the positions that you're in, that you have enough trust in for their judgment, and use them like your second. Show them the respect and tell them, I value your advice. I would like your input. Am I doing the right thing? Call me out.
I have a couple people at least in mind already that I could possibly talk to.
Exactly. I think that is what we in the health would call a support network.
Yeah, I've heard about those several times.
Yeah.
Usually, though, I'm one in other people's networks.
Well, that's the thing. You've suddenly just taken a look there and gone, I could see myself getting help from these people. Just like you've contacted me and asked me to help you because you were feeling some certain way. The loss that you've currently felt has brought to the forefront your current feelings about, well, mistakes. You don't want to make mistakes because they've made mistakes, obviously, and they suffered greatly for it. You've, well, for lack of a better term, been shown mortality. And it's not a pretty thing to see sometimes, but as we all know, that is just another part of life. So along with making those notes in a journal about why you've made decisions, what the decisions you've made for other people are when they've brought you choices, write down the list of people that you feel would be good with helping you with those. And then put that right at the front. Like open the journal right within, not even the first page, right directly on the back of the book itself, the list of people that you feel would be helpful. Then every time you write down a choice or decision you have made or are going to make, because if they don't need an answer straight away, you don't have to give them one straight away. Don't rush. But refer back to that list of names and go, I feel that this person would be good to help me with this. And this is why. I feel this person would be good to help me with this as well, because this is why. Pros and cons. There's never anything wrong with thinking of things as checks and balances. Might call it a little less interpersonal in some ways, a tad detached. But sometimes detaching yourself from it a little bit is what we need to be able to see the bigger picture of it all. I mean, if you're face down on this table, it looks huge, right? You can't see the edges. It's just table. Nothing but table as far as the eye can see. But you start pulling yourself back from it, suddenly, hey, this table's not so big. I could move this table. Something like that.
You have no idea, the temptation just to keep that kind of joke reference going is to just put my head on the table. I was so tempted to right there. Just for the shits and giggles of it.
See, that's what I like to hear, Celia. That's what I like to hear.
Just like, yes.
It's okay. I mean, I could just be really bad and just thought, like, lamp.
Yeah, that's kind of why I've been like mostly kind of looking down and around and like focusing on your face when I do look up, because I am trying so hard not to steal any of the lamps in here.
It's a nice cozy shop. I understand why you'd probably want to.
Yeah, but they need their lights.
Yeah, the owner of the establishment kind of likes the fact that I don't really have rowdy patients. But, is there anything else on your mind right now that's coming to the forefront that you want to ask, Celia? Anything else that's currently perturbing you? Because my current thought processes are your choice paralysis and your worry about that stems from your current feelings of loss for those that you care about. You've lost them and you yourself feel lost because you've had a foundation taken away from you.
And how do I handle, like, overworking? A lot of people said that I've been
That I
overworking
can't answer,
myself a lot of
considering how many
things.
jobs I have
Damn.
and how many patients I have
Damn.
and a social life. Can't help you there,
It
Celia.
was at least a
I
try.
myself am completely at
It was
fault
at
for
least
that
a
one.
try.
Yeah, it
Listen,
was.
it was at
It
least
was
worth a
worth
try
it.
and asking.
Yeah, look, it was worth a shot. Like a shot in my.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, you too.
See, look, I will use a little bit of comedy to break tension occasionally because it's the right thing to do. But yeah, when it comes to overworking, I don't sleep. So I really cannot.
But I do.
Yeah, I can't actually bring you any help on that one. There's no solace I can offer, sadly. I could tell you to,
No.
I don't know, go to a spa. Get yourself
I
pampered
really
a little
thought
bit.
about
Go get yourself a
that. Yeah, but
mani
mostly
pedi
just
or
like whenever
something.
I got. Normally, whenever I need to like go and relax, all I've done so far is just be like, "Hey, Hephaestus, I'm going over to your place, like your workshop. Yeah, I'll see you there if you're there.
Look,
Just get away
as long
from the
as you
mansion, my homes."
don't attribute whatever it is you're doing as work to help you relax, that's a good thing. If you like, I don't know, competitive crocheting, just a hobby. Any hobby is always the best thing to help you not focus on work, and make sure to keep them separated. Never see your hobby as a job or something you have to work on. Do it because it's something you enjoy doing.
I guess primary thing I can think of is me doing my art again. I haven't done that in a while.
Exactly. Sketch, paint, write up choreographs for interpretive dance. Whatever you feel. The only way that you can deal with overwork is realizing you're overworking. I understand that I overwork, but I also understand that I need to keep my mind busy. Sitting around for a long period of time isn't healthy for me. I have to be doing. I'm an active person, so. As long as you can separate work and life, that's always the difference. Make sure that if you're doing a hobby, do it away from anywhere that you would consider as a place of work.
Can't really think of much else to really be talking about.
Well, that's a good thing. You don't need to apologize or worry that there's a lack of topics to talk about. It means that you feel that you've gained some closure in some way, shape, or form that has helped you reach a decision on how to handle your current issue. And that's a good thing. That's what I like to hear. That means I'm doing my job, and you're getting the help that you need.
Very true.
You're going to be fine, Celia. Plus, if you ever feel like you're having another problem again, not like you don't know how to contact me, you know I can happily take this time
Very
and
true.
sit down with you any time you need. Okay, not any time because, of course, well, everyone's got things in life that do take their priorities, and I can't prioritize every client above my own needs. There's selflessness and then there's insanity,
Of
and I
course.
understand the differentiation between the two. Me of all people.
Yeah, of course.
But if you don't feel that there's anything that you currently need to be talking about, and you understand what I've set down as a good idea for you to do to try and help you ease through your current predicament of things, I think that's a good thing.
You've set it on the table, and I will take it.
Exactly. Well, in that case then, Celia, I think we're probably done for the day. But again, anytime you need help,
My back.
yeah, imagine being able to feel that, just like,
Yep.
yes. Still nothing. I just get worried
Yeah,
I'll fall
fair
over
enough.
if I do that.
Yeah, simply cannot just keep going, or else you're gonna.
That's how gravity works. Yeah.
Trust me, I understand that. Whenever I do the whole like wings are not there, I have to like make myself feel like they're there, even though they're not. Because if I don't, then I'm just gonna tip over. I almost did when I first lost those.
Yeah, it's like
They were
a,
really
a
annoying.
cat without a tail. Well, Celia, it's been a pleasure talking. Again, anytime, reach out. We can always set up another session if you have another major problem come up. We can work through it. We'll take it step by step, okay? But for now, I feel that going out there and getting a taste of it doing what we've set out, first things first, right? Slow and steady. Names in a journal, choices, why these names are good choices to help you with these things, find people, use your support network, talk through the problems with the people you trust, and don't be afraid to talk to the people above you as well about this kind of thing. If, well, you can find them, apparently.
Well, I mean, I have a way of contacting them. Just I've not wanted to bother them with all of that shit, just because they have their own things going on. So,
Fair enough.
no, either way,
Well, I'm sure I'll see you around, and
appreciate it.
if I don't see you soon, Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you as well. Say hi to Sarah for me. I haven't been able to talk to her in a while.
Yeah,
I tried to talk to her the other day, but
I
haven't
can
seen
pass
her.
that on to you. Yeah, have a good evening there.
See ya.